Hey everyone, Loken and I are back to talk about the latest chapter of My Hero Academia. Join the discussion by leaving a comment and let us know what your take would be. Spoiler warning, this video will cover chapter 301 of My Hero Academia. If you enjoy these videos, please help support the channel by leaving a like and subscribing to Texas Smash. Hit the bell icon and turn on all notifications so that you can be sure to catch us every time a new chapter is released. Let's nerd out together. Real quick, before we start this week, we have a guest with us to discuss the chapter who will join us not only for this week, but for some future videos as well. We met through the exclusive Discord server for Turtle Cork Patreons. Turtle Cork is a YouTube channel that is predominantly My Hero Academia, but covers a bunch of Black Clover as well and has some amazing Attack on Titan videos for the final season of the anime. If you're not already aware of Turtle Cork's channel, I cannot recommend it to you enough. Pippo knows his stuff when it comes to My Hero Academia, and we're excited to have him with us this week. The chapter begins with the backstory of Inji and Rei. We see when Inji visited Rei's family and Rei's father giving her away to Endeavor. We also see some insight into Inji's thoughts about the situation. Inji seems to respect the way Rei showed strength by dealing with the Cork marriage for the sake of her family. Rei makes mention of the flowers she liked that Inji would remember forever. We are then quickly brought back to current time, and we see Dabi thinking about everything that happened during the war. Dabi is excited about the idea of Endeavor having to face the public. He describes this as all I've been waiting for. He thinks of everything he has given up to reach this point, and the scene closes with Dabi thinking out loud about how he hopes his family watches him in the pits of hell. All right, so let's talk it up.
So I don't know about you guys, but I don't really think Endeavor was the reason that the marriage happened. Like, based on the first panel and how his face looks, it's how he looked when he's angry. So like, if you remember back in one of the Vigilantes chapters when he's fighting Crawler in number 6, that's the face he was making.
Yeah.
And so it kind of seems like someone else pressured him into it, but he like semi agrees, you know?
I mean, at the end of the day, he does.
He went along with it. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he did want it, though. I think he just looks serious, not necessarily.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm probably thinking over too much about it, but
The way his face looks, though, he's not happy.
It's like based on Horikoshi's attentiveness to detail, it kind of seems like we shouldn't overlook it completely.
Well, then, and then even the wording with what it says next to him, talking about Rei's family name, the Hamura.
Yeah.
Like, name has an extensive history as a prestigious family line. I feel like more he's honored that he's gotten matched with her. And so he's almost like, okay, this is a woman I needed, like, really take serious, and this is my chance.
Yeah.
I don't think he was forced into it. I think he...
No, I'm not saying he was forced into it. I feel like he was pressured into it. Like by a manager or something.
Even that.
Because at this point...
Go ahead.
Yeah, at this point, he's on his climb up to number 2. Because it says, like, dubbed the next candidate for number 1.
Right.
So it's hinting at that he's not number 2 yet. But we already know All Might's number 1. So this is after he comes back from America. And, probably like a year after that. Since he gets number 1 really quickly. So, yeah, it seems like it's like a manager doing it. But from my thought, at least.
I think it's Endeavor. I think at his heart is telling him that this is wrong, but his brain is saying, I need to do this to accomplish my goals. I think that's why his face looks like how it does.
His morals are saying...
That makes sense, too.
I would say his morals are saying this isn't right, but his pride is saying I need this and I want this to become number one, so I have to.
Yeah, so he could be like angry at himself for doing it.
Right.
Is what
Yeah.
you guys saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because Endeavor wants to pass All Might, and he'll do anything to make that happen. So I don't think I think Endeavor himself probably made the decision, but
I still think right now too he's a younger version of himself, so he still has some of this innocence to him. Like when it goes to the flower scene, them in that walking down a path, trying to get to know each other and create this type of bond. And he's asking, "Do you like these flowers?" That's still him trying to make a connection with her. But even though his ultimate goal will trump anything, he's trying to create a friendship and a bond with her. To have that correlation, do you like these flowers? All right, now we like each other. I'm trying to respect you, but still, I want to become number one.
Yeah.
yeah. And then Ray even talks to that. I think it's Natsuo was talking to Ray, like, why do you always defend him? And then she brought up the flowers that Enji
Yeah.
continues to bring her these flowers. Like he could have just forced her to do what he wanted and been a jerk about it.
Which I didn't even remember that, by the way. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot he kept bringing her flowers the whole time.
Yeah, she even has it in her hand when she comes into Endeavor's room in the hospital.
Does she?
Yeah,
It's in her left hand.
I think he mentioned.
Oh yeah, it is. I missed that.
So yeah,
Interesting.
Endeavor. I've been saying it for a while. Endeavor. He's not
But
as bad as he's made out to be.
That's what is annoying me is like all these previous perceptions and all the other chapters we've had was this terrible, outlook of Endeavor, and now we're seeing this softer side of, oh, he was a romantic, oh, he was trying to create a relationship, it wasn't a forced, because it almost made it out like he was trying to rape Ray to create kids.
Yeah. But he never did. Even stated by Dobby, he didn't.
Right. Now we're
Back
seeing...
in those chapters, he stated that it was like she wanted the kids. No, it was him. It was his introspection, not Dobby saying that. My bad.
Either way,
because back when,
she was a part of
Yeah.
it too. She wasn't some innocent, bystander who was swept up and just forced to do these things.
yeah, she decided that she wanted more kids after Toya was born already, and he was probably like 4 by the time she wanted more kids.
Right, and
Well,
she knew his
No, not
intentions
4,
at the
like
beginning.
3.
Well, hang on. We're good. We got that coming later in the chapter.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Anything on Dobby? It's the last part of this third Dobby
I feel
scene.
like that part is kind of like self-explanatory, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the only thing to note is that he says "mom" and Fuyumi-chan, because the way he spoke and when he revealed all the information about Endeavor was that he hated everybody else except for Natsu. But the way he's speaking about them to himself, he still cares about his mom, because he says otherwise he wouldn't have said mom, he would have said Ray, because he called Endeavor, he called him Enji instead of dad or whatever. But he also said Fuyumi-chan and Natsu-kun, which are the affectionate terms for in Japan.
Which makes sense.
And then he also said Shoto, which makes sense because he hates Shoto as well.
Exactly.
Well, and I would just say to note that it's interesting to just see him laying there. He is really beat up. He's on his last leg. It almost looks like he's definitely hurt. He hurt himself, and he's having all these inner monologues and this thought.
It almost looks like he's steaming on the bed, on the couch. I mean,
Yeah.
like I know it's just black, but it looks like he's still steaming from the fight. Because we saw him steaming
Like
during
smoke. Smoke is
Yeah,
coming off of
like-
him. Yeah.
not steam. It was smoke.
Yeah.
Because it was literally burning his skin.
Right. he's still crispy from it.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you look, you see "Watch Me," the panel where he says "Watch me." Is that what, blood coming out of his eye? It
Yeah.
almost looks like it drips
Yeah.
down.
Because we always know he bleeds a lot whenever he uses his power.
But his
and
blood
we
drips.
also know
Go ahead.
instead of crying, he bleeds. Because back when
Yeah, he
Twice died,
Mm-hmm.
Hawk said your friend just died and you're not even crying. But and then he said that he couldn't cry anymore and that his tear ducts dried up.
Right.
But we saw blood coming out of his eyes.
And it's cool that the next panel underneath is the Todoroki's house. I mean, I don't know if there's some symbolism here, but you see the blood from Dabi dripping down onto the house.
I think that's more just like a artistic thing, not a symbolism thing.
Well then,
but we'll find out.
Well then, what's the house before that? You have the Todoroki house, and then above that, that's
the house he's in. That's the house that the Paranormal Liberation Front owns.
The Liberation.
Not like
oh,
not the
that's
mansion,
where he's at.
okay,
that's where he's at right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on the couch.
Okay, I got you. Well then, and then even more so later down, he was talking about, NG, this guy's my old man, and even saying that, with his attack and even how strong it is, that even at this point, it wouldn't kill him, and also he wouldn't allow him to die. So, Dabi has a lot more plans for Endeavor as well, which will be awesome to see.
Yeah.
And closing in the pits of hell. Because and he was dancing, he was like, come join me, come dance with me in hell.
Yeah.
This guy is tormented. Dabi's tormented, so. Man.
Yeah. The way you phrased it makes you think like he's got something more planned. Dabi has something more planned than what's already happened.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on this chunk before we go on to the second part?
No, I don't. Yeah, there's nothing else.
Cool. Before we go on to the next part, I did want to bring up a couple good points that some guys had in Turtle Quirk's Discord server. Danny Boy 97 brought up a point about how, Dabi wants Endeavor to be embarrassed. I don't think that's going to happen. I agree with what Danny Boy was saying here. Endeavor's changed, and Dabi doesn't know that, right? Like, the old Endeavor, yes, this would have crushed him. Dabi's going to get what he wants. But the new Endeavor, the loss of his career isn't going to hit him as hard as, how he used to be.
Right. I mean, his goal was to always be number one, and now he's almost overturned. He's turned a new leaf.
Right.
So, right.
And Dabi has no idea.
Exactly.
Ruhan brought up a point, too, also in Turtle Quirk's Discord server about, he might not be embarrassed. However, it still kind of works because NG realizing that his son is a villain, he's alive, but seeing him in the state that he's in, I think that's hitting him in the heart,
Right.
So
he's still getting affected by it and impacted, but not the way Dabi intended it to be.
We then shift back to the past and at long last get the long-awaited backstory of Toya, or at least part one of it. We see Toya upset with Enji for refusing to train him. Toya was hopeful that once Endeavor finally got a day off that they could finally train again since they hadn't in a while. Enji and Rei visit the hospital instead, where the doctor explains that Toya's body has inherited his mother's genes, resulting in his body having an aptitude for cold, not fire. While this is happening, Toya at home complains to Fumi, saying that, "So what if I get burned a bit? I can handle it. I'm the one who understands my body best, and Dad's the one who ignited that feeling in me." We then go back to Rei and Enji. We see Enji upset that Toya can't let go of wanting to surpass All Might. This leads to a less than passionate scene where Endeavor has made up his mind that he will buy another lottery ticket, aka have another kid.
I think it's interesting to jump from like Dobby pretty much dying and having this introspectiveness to his childhood. Like finally we're getting even more of a backstory with him. Where is this coming from? His whole mentality as a child and getting to see Endeavor as a dad. And I don't know if this is directly from Dobby's perspective, but it just seems like a very contradiction from what we previously had with what he told the public. A lot of what he's saying is Dobby right now as a child is fighting to be Inji's number one. Like he wants to be that
All Might.
Yeah.
Number one. So, all right, let's let the cat out of the bag. I think we have the same thoughts here.
Mm-hmm.
The scene at the hospital.
The doctor looks very suspiciously like Dr. Gracke.
Exactly. Same thoughts. That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I assumed so. I didn't notice it at first, but you look back at it, that looks similar to, I know it's a hospital, so they probably all look similar, but like it looks similar to the chair does, the person does. It looks similar to the scene where we saw Izuku get, told he didn't have a quirk.
Yeah, it definitely does look like him. I mean, you only see the back of his head, really, but we had the same thoughts as well.
Yeah. After that, we get the scene of him and Fuyumi. So we don't really learn anything other than the fact that he wants to be a hero, even past Endeavor's suggestion of him not wanting to be, not being able to. At this point, he's already decided that Toya wasn't strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
But he just keeps practicing and practicing.
And I think we see Toya speak a little more freely here because Inji and Rei are at the hospital at this moment. So he's speaking his mind to Fuyumi, which was cool. I mean, I don't think we would have got that true of a representation of Toya if, Inji and Rei were home. So
true, but at the beginning you do see Endeavor trying. He said, "I'm doing this for your own good." He's trying to stop Dobby from really trying to make his dad happy. At the end of the day, he idolizes his dad, and he's really trying to emulate him. That's what his ultimate goal. He wants to make his dad proud of him.
At this stage.
And just the lack of communication, I think, as a child, adult, all that, they're all trying to have their own goals, but they won't talk about it. And so it is cool to see Fuyumi and him have that open discussion.
And after that, we see baby Shoto. So finishing out the chapter real quick, jealousy sets in hard for Toya. If anything, Toya's even more determined to train with the arrival of Shoto. Inji tries to reason with Dabi again. Inji tries to tell Dabi that the hero life was not meant for him. Toya cannot accept this, and that's putting it lightly. Toya, at this moment, lunges towards Shoto, and you'll never guess what happens next, because the chapter ends, so we don't know. There is one last panel of Rei in current day, talking to Inji in the hospital. Quote, "The one in the most pain isn't you, and you weren't the only one who refused to look at that child." End quote.
So we see Shoto's hair is still white at the end of the hospital scene. And then we also see a panel of Toya just miserable. We then see the panels of Endeavor and All Might, with Endeavor getting more desperate and desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And, we see it seems to be the sadness in Rei's eyes forming. We see the dark bags under her eyes that I have. And then we see the scene of, Shoto's hair turning red.
So I honestly
instantaneously
did not catch that.
Really?
I didn't notice that his hair was solid white at that one panel, because the next panel it is half red. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. I mean, we know that quirks develop up until 4. He just got his really early.
And Dobby's hair change, like, it just developed. It was showing a development. I like the
Yeah,
way
it was. I mean, yeah, people's hair changed during their life.
Right,
You know,
right.
know what?
It's likely that just happened naturally.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, Pippo, I like the way you described it. Dobby's face was of disdain. Like that look was disdain, almost like, oh, I'm no longer. My chance is gone. And then you're right. The whole development of all of these, each character, we're seeing the breakdown of the family right now.
Yeah.
Man, that was really good.
Toya's it's setting in. He's realizing what's going on. And also, not to harp on the hair, but if you think about it, Toya's hair, correct me if I'm wrong, started red, turned white.
Right.
Yeah.
If Shoto's hair started white, turned half, is that not kind of an implication that Shoto is the chosen one? He is the perfect split between...
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I was going to say in this next panel. After the baby Shoto is turning his hair red, we see Endeavor looking ecstatic. Ray looking, just as sad as she did before. But then we see the panic shape in Toya's head.
Yeah.
Because we see his half white hair at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which, because, his hair is half red and half white at this point in time.
Right.
And so we just see this, absolute misery that forms in his face when he sees, Shoto's hair turn red. Because he knows that, he's smart enough to know that, his hair started to turn white when his body couldn't handle his fire.
Exactly.
So what would that mean, for someone the opposite?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
their body can
as if-
handle the fire.
I would almost say the look in his face is like all hope is lost.
Yeah.
All
that's
hope for
kind of-
him to be the pride of his father is now lost. This is when he breaks. So
Yeah, that
he's
scene-
going to blame Shoto.
Him walking
like-
outside crying. Yeah.
And then later on we'll talk about it, but you're right. Like this whole right when Shoto was, not only when he was born, but then when he took the formation of the hair and the combination of the quirks and showing and displaying that he had the ability to do them both, that's when all hope was lost.
Yeah, that's what my thoughts was.
Yeah, no, and like you said, despair.
Yeah.
That's the perfect wording. Nice. Cool.
So to come back to your earlier point, Locan, talking about different perspectives that you've gotten on Endeavor. Really, at this point, your intent to have a kid should not be purely business, or even partially business, honestly. Shouldn't even be partial. Aside from that, though, you brought it up earlier, Endeavor, he says right here, stop it. Why don't you understand? You're getting burnt. Toya, you need to look elsewhere. He's pleading with Toya,
Right.
Endeavor, man, people make him out to be so much worse. He's a bad guy, or used to be a bad guy, but he is demonized, in my opinion, more than he.
Right. Well, it was
should
almost
be.
portrayed that his intentions might have been the same, but the way he went about it, we're getting a whole new viewpoint. It almost was like he would sacrifice a child just to obtain his goal. But now we're seeing that no, he was really trying to be a good dad. Hey, stop. I know that I wanted you to be this, but you weren't able to. So.
But he did kind of create the situation, so, round and round.
That's almost like a sports dad or any other dad who wants aspirations for their child. You can't villainize a dad or a parent.
If you had a dad who wanted the next all-star quarterback and this kid can't throw a ball to save his life and he just ignored that kid and had another kid to be a quarterback.
Did he ignore him? I mean, later it does.
Shoto is is the new star. Yeah, because at the end of the chapter, you weren't the only one who refused to let your dad try.
Then he's not the best dad. He's not great, but he's not.
That's my point.
Right. He's not as bad as the way he's been played out to be to me.
But you also got to understand Dobby's reaction too. Because I'm your son, like, all the kids at school want to be a hero. What am I supposed to tell them? Like, you completely get where Dobby's coming from here.
Yeah.
That panel where he says, because I'm your son, crying in reference to why I can't just not want to be a hero or not be a hero. So, you get it. You definitely get where Dobby's coming from.
This is some crazy family dynamic.
And then, of course, the swing at Shoto. Any comments on that? It's the last thing of the chapter.
Honestly, I feel like it's not even that big of a deal because, like, kids hit their siblings all the time. I feel like it's just kind of like that, to be honest.
You don't think,
at least.
But him putting it in there, you don't think maybe it's a prequel or like a little foreshadowing of
symbolism
what might become.
But I think it's symbolism of what's going to try to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, I really just think it's like some kid, trying to hit his little brother.
Right.
Well, the only thing there, though, Toya has his quirk on at this moment. So, he has fire.
Yeah, but okay, to be fair, if I had fire and I was going to hit my sister, I was going to use the fire. Like,
right. Yeah, if I had a quirk, I wouldn't not have it.
So that's not him hitting him.
That's him burning. It's available.
He's a fire quirk too.
But now we're not talking about just a hit. We're talking about a burn.
At a kid, whatever.
Yeah,
True.
It's still like a kid being a kid because he's
I agree with
that he's being replaced. I really don't see anything like that big about that part other than just like the symbolism of what's like hinting at going to happen.
All right, so we'll take turns. This will be the end. Well, Pippo, let's just go since you're already kind of starting with it. What do you think is going to happen immediately after?
What I think immediately is going to happen after is that, Endeavor just grabs Shoto and Fuyumi uses her ice. Because we know she has an ice quirk, we just don't know how strong it is. It's hinted to be like semi-powerful. But, we don't have any proof. I think that Rei uses her ice quirk, and Endeavor grabs Toya.
Oh, you said Fuyumi earlier. You meant Rei?
I meant Rei.
Okay.
My bad.
Gotcha. I like that. What do you think, Loken?
In the next chapter?
Like, what happens right after that panel where Dobby's coming at Shoto? Well, yeah, in the next chapter.
I don't know if we'll necessarily even get the answer.
Oh, I feel like we will. It's part 1.
Well, yeah, not immediately. I don't think immediately we'll get the answer. I think the next chapter will be back to Deku is my guesses.
All right, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we're in part 1. Part 2, when part 2 starts out, you do see Shoto with his face just like looking at him, death stare, which it looks hilarious.
Yeah.
Zoom in.
It kind of looks like Stewie.
Yeah. Seriously. Looks like Stewie just like, what are you doing?
When they introduce him, he looks funny too.
Just a hilarious drawing of him. And I think either the mom does something, either Rei does, or Shoto literally automatically shows his power. And Inji does step in at the end of the day. And this is where the point where they realize, like, Inji realizes he cannot help him no more, and this is when he finally is taken away from the family.
See, okay. I want to disagree with you guys just for the sake of a discussion, but I think so. But just to add on to what you guys said, when we do get part 2, whether it's next week or in the future, like your point, Loken, this chapter makes people, it paints Endeavor in a much better light.
Oh, yeah.
I think part 2 might be 180 degrees from this. Because, he's going to step in. I think that's putting it lightly. I think we're going to see why the Todorokis hate Inji.
It can't be the disappearance of Toya yet.
I don't
Because
think it's.
we know that.
I think he just beats him.
Um, I don't think he would.
You don't think?
Like, at this point, I don't think he's mad enough to be able to do that. Because like, sure, he would do it against Shoto, but that's super far in the future, and that's after Toya is supposedly dies.
But that's his future right there. That's in Ray's arms, and Toya's trying to destroy that.
I guess it's possible, but
I think
I don't know. The reason I don't think it is because when Toya supposedly burns up, he's still trying to be like his father.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's gonna get burnt up. He will get beaten or whatnot.
No, I know, but like he wouldn't, emulate someone who's, beating you.
Okay. Yeah, you would.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, becoming like them, yeah, they do. People do that all the time, but you wouldn't emulate them. Not emulate them. I should rephrase that. Admire.
I mean, at the end of the day, Dobby, he might be, the way he's acting right now is rejecting his father in the public eye, but at the end of the day, he's the firstborn. He idolizes his dad. He will idolize him to the end, no matter what. But yes, no, I mean, the fact that Dobby idolizes him, he will do whatever he can to make sure that he stays in his father's eyes as his chosen one. But the fact that his position is threatened now, he will do whatever he can to take him out. But I'm not saying he gets burnt up at this point. I just think they think it's better to send him off. So, like Kronos was saying, he gets beaten, sent off to that Hawks. I was talking with some other people that, it's I guess it's still speculation, this whole like special child training thing for heroes.
But it's unlikely because of the one of the later chapters is that he didn't know Hawks's name. Well, actually, no, I guess he did. Yeah, ignore what I just said.
He did know his name, right?
Yeah, because he knew his name to find his mom, obviously.
And doesn't Dobby say Hawk's name whenever they were fighting in the Liberation Army mansion?
Right. So I'm just saying, all this adds up to that. All right, cool. To placate Dobby, they sent him off to this.
Okay.
And
that makes
to
sense.
turn him into a hero and making him feel better. But then really Dobby finds out that he was lied to, and that's what creates this disdain and this almost rejection.
So, okay, chain of events. Part 2, let's just say Endeavor oversteps, does more than he should against Toya. That's why,
Everything.
the opposite of what this chapter did, right?
Right.
Then it's like, oh, okay, that's why everybody hates him so much. But then, yeah, what you said, so putting him in that program removes him from Shoto, protects his trophy, so to speak.
Right.
But that would also explain, to Pippo's point, why he burnt up later, because maybe he wasn't trying to emulate Endeavor. Maybe the government agency that trained Hawks and Dobby forced him to, or, he had to do it because they're the ones that feed him,
Either way, I think we'll get an explanation from that. We will figure out what happens with Hawks and Dobby and that whole storyline. We're going to figure that out. But even then, what happens will definitely be interesting.
Didn't Endeavor make a comment, oh gosh, when did he say this, but about how him not being around is what killed Toya? And that would all play into each other.
Right.
He just dropped him off at this government program. Maybe he figures out a way to control it, and that can come back to him later, like an asset, really, instead of a child. So, it fits. We'll see. Any closing comments? Anybody?
No, I'm thinking I'm good.
Cool. All right. As always, audience, please let us know what your take would be down in the comments below, and make sure to come back next week and join us. See you next time.